Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm a board-certified behavior analyst. Today I want to talk about the use of screen time as a positive reinforcer in the context of behavior change programs. As we all know, most kids love screens. They can be very powerful reinforcers. I myself am highly motivated by stimulus changes that only occur within the context of screen time, like watching YouTube. But is it ethical to use screen time as programmed reinforcement for an ABA client? Let's look at some research, shall we? This video is brought to you by educationalheroes.com. This website provides access to a variety of digital downloads and educational curricula for students, teachers, and parents, all at a very affordable rate. If you or someone you know is an educator, definitely check out educationalheroes.com. This is a new service, so if you're one of the first 100 subscribers, you can use the discount code 25GetStarted25 for a 25% discount. Okay, now let's get into that screen time research. According to Sina and colleagues, digital media use was found to be a risk factor for metabolic syndrome in children and adolescents. Another study by Pagani and colleagues examined the effects of increased television viewing at 29 months of age on school readiness at 65 months, and found decreases in receptive vocabulary, number knowledge scores, classroom engagement, and gross motor locomotion scores, as well as increases in the frequency of victimization by classmates. Tomopoulos and colleagues found that duration of media exposure at age 6 months was associated with lower cognitive development at age 14 months. The results of a study by Hinkley and colleagues indicated that increased levels of electronic media use predicted poorer well-being outcomes related to peer interaction, emotions, self-esteem, family functioning, and social networking. Madigan and colleagues found that higher levels of screen time were associated with lower scores on developmental screening tests. And I actually found even more research on this topic, linking screen time to attention and sleep problems in children and lower language development scores in infants. I even read that excessive screen time is related to the premature thinning of the outermost layer of the brain. The American Academy of Pediatrics actually recommends that babies under the age of 18 months should get absolutely no screen time. Now let's circle back around to the Code of Ethics for behavior analysts. Item 2.15 of the Code of Ethics states the following: behavior analysts select, design, and implement behavior change interventions, including the selection and use of consequences, with a focus on minimizing risk of harm to the client and stakeholders. The core principles section of that same code states that we should be focusing on the short and long-term consequences of our professional activities as behavior analysts. So now that we have all this information, what is an ethical behavior analyst to do when it comes to screen time as reinforcement? Ideally, we can avoid using screens as reinforcement entirely, or at the very least, keep screen time limited and instead provide access to a wide variety of healthy, age-appropriate, highly preferred items and activities which might function as reinforcement for these learners. But I will say that in this day and age, screens are very difficult to get away from for both kids and adults. For some of my clients, screens are way more motivating than most other things. In a situation like this, pairing screen time with social interaction and age-appropriate leisure items and activities seems to be the way to go. You could do a formal preference assessment and collect data on it to see whether this pairing procedure is effective. And as behavior analysts, we're ethically responsible for fading out programmed reinforcement to natural levels, regardless of what the reinforcer is. So in addition to pairing screen time with lower risk reinforcers, we need to also be looking at fading. I think a good place to start overall is to just be aware of the effects of screen time that I had mentioned before, and to share this information with our colleagues and our clients' caregivers, because I've encountered this issue a lot in practice, but I haven't really heard a whole lot of discussion about it. Also, a random side note from my fellow BCBAs. Is screen time an unconditioned reinforcer? The Cooper definition of unconditioned reinforcement is a stimulus change that can increase the future frequency of behavior without prior pairing with any other form of reinforcement, depending on the current motivating operations of the organism. Other examples of unconditioned reinforcers are food, water, oxygen, and warmth. I couldn't find any research on this, but I'm wondering if the audio and visual stimulus changes on these media devices function as unconditioned reinforcers for the behaviors of watching and interacting with these devices. Do these stimuli need to be paired with existing reinforcers, like maybe praise from an adult, in order to become reinforcing? Does screen time function as reinforcement for newborn babies who have no previous exposure to it? What are your thoughts on screen time as programmed reinforcement? If you're an ABA practitioner, how do you manage when a client is solely motivated by screen time? Is screen time an unconditioned reinforcer? If any of you have knowledge or insight about this, please share it in the comments below. Thank you for watching.